Behold Canada, a blend of stunning landscapes and urban splendor. Its robust economy, buoyed by a strong social safety net and a stable political system, paints a picture of prosperity. Yet, beneath this facade lies a growing concern: homelessness. Despite its economic strength, many are ensnared in a cycle of homelessness, an ironic twist to Canada's tale of affluence. The juxtaposition of rising homelessness amidst booming prosperity raises pressing questions. Through this narrative, we venture into the heart of this issue, seeking to unravel the complex socio-economic factors contributing to Canada's homelessness conundrum. As we delve deeper, we aim to shed light on the shadows that lurk behind the shimmering veil of Canada's economic success, hoping to foster a dialogue that could pave the way for a more inclusive society. Canada's journey from a sparse, underdeveloped land to a beacon of economic stability on the global stage is a tale of tenacity, resourcefulness, and strategic evolution. The early European settlers in the 1600s encountered a harsh, unforgiving terrain. The chilling winters and barren lands presented a stark contrast to the flourishing economy we see today. Subsistence farming and small, isolated communities characterized the initial phases of Canada's economic narrative. As the years progressed into the early 1800s, the dawn of industrialization cast its first rays upon the nation. The construction of canals and railways unlocked new horizons, facilitating trade and transportation. The fur trade, the gold rush in British Columbia, and the establishment of the Canadian National Railway all marked significant milestones on Canada's path to economic ascendancy. The First World War further propelled Canada into an era of economic growth, as the demand for Canadian goods and services soared on the global stage. The post-war era saw a continuation of this upward trajectory. A significant booster came with the discovery of oil in Alberta in the 1940s, turning the wheels of fortune in favor of Canada. The latter half of the 20th century ushered in a period of sustained growth, much of which can be attributed to the inception of social safety programs, like universal health care and the Canada Pension Plan. These initiatives not only cushioned the citizens against economic hardships, but also contributed to a stable and resilient economy, reinforcing the social fabric. As Canada emerged as a G7 country, it showcased a diversified industrial base, making it a significant player in the global economic arena. This transition was not merely a consequence of abundant natural resources, but a testimony to a skilled and educated workforce, stable political governance, and a culture of nurturing social safety nets. Free trade agreements further bolstered Canada's economic stance, providing a gateway to a myriad of global economic partnerships. However, despite this glowing economic narrative, the ghost of homelessness continues to haunt the Canadian ethos. To continue exploring these intricate dynamics with us, make sure to subscribe. The next chapter will dissect the economic, social, and systemic factors contributing to the rise of homelessness, unveiling the complex interplay between Canada's prosperous economy and the escalating homelessness crisis. The dichotomy of soaring homelessness in a robust economy like Canada requires a nuanced exploration of the underlying economic, social, and systemic factors. First, the economic factors. Poverty, unexpected financial setbacks, whether due to medical emergencies or sudden job loss, often hurl families into the abyss of poverty, making homelessness a looming threat. The frailty of economic stability for lower income groups is a concerning reality. Unemployment. The correlation between unemployment and homelessness is stark. Lack of stable income eradicates the means for securing housing, pushing individuals towards homelessness. The ripple effects extend to eroded self-esteem and a cycle of poverty that's hard to escape. Housing affordability. The burgeoning housing market has exacerbated the affordability crisis. As housing prices soar, many find the dream of having a roof over their heads drifting further away. The mismatch between income levels and housing costs is a significant contributor to homelessness. These economic factors illustrate how precarious financial situations, the absence of steady employment, and the unrelenting rise in housing costs converge to propel individuals and families towards homelessness. Social factors: mental illness. Societal stigma and inadequate mental health support systems often leave those battling mental illnesses stranded. Their struggle is magnified by homelessness, which further alienates and deprives them of necessary care and rehabilitation. Homelessness exacerbates their mental health challenges, creating a vicious cycle of despair. Addiction. The vicious cycle of addiction and homelessness feed into each other. The high costs of substances, stigma, and the resulting unemployability often lead to and perpetuate homelessness among addicts. They face not only the physical struggles of life on the streets, but also the weight of addiction, pulling them deeper into a state of homelessness. Family violence and discrimination. Individuals fleeing abusive environments or facing discrimination based on race, gender, or sexual orientation often find themselves cornered into homelessness. The insidious interplay of social prejudices with economic distress underscores the complex dynamics of homelessness. Survivors of family violence, particularly women and children, face the harsh reality of life without a home, seeking refuge in shelters or on the streets. Systematic factors: lack of affordable housing. The inadequacy of affordable housing is a glaring policy and investment gap. Restrictive zoning laws and insufficient government investment in low-income housing exacerbate the problem. Insufficient support services. The deficit in essential support services like mental health care, addiction treatment, job training, and housing assistance forms a gaping hole in the social safety net, pushing individuals towards homelessness. Policy gaps. Governmental inadequacies in addressing the root causes of poverty and unemployment, from education and training opportunities to wage regulations, reveal a systematic failure that fuels the homelessness crisis. Impact of homelessness. The ripple effects of homelessness are profound, affecting individuals, communities, and the nation. Individuals experiencing homelessness often face deteriorated physical and mental health due to the harsh conditions of life on the streets or in shelters. They are at a higher risk of substance abuse and victimization, compounding their struggles. Communities with a significant homeless population may experience increased crime rates and social disorder, which can strain local resources and disrupt the sense of security. At the national level, homelessness imposes significant costs on healthcare, policing, and social services, diverting resources away from other vital needs. Remedial pathways. Alleviating homelessness necessitates a holistic approach encompassing policy reforms, increased investment in affordable housing, and support services. Policy reforms should address the root causes of homelessness, including poverty, unemployment, and the lack of affordable housing. This includes measures to improve access to education, job training, and mental health services. Investment in affordable housing is essential to provide stable shelter to those in need. Support services should include mental health and addiction treatment, job training, and housing assistance to help individuals rebuild their lives. Now, we will delve into the diplomatic strain between Canada and India, its roots, current status, and the potential indirect impacts of this crisis on homelessness in Canada. The diplomatic crisis between Canada and India, which began in September 2023, centers around credible allegations that Indian government agents were involved in the murder of Hardeep Singh Najjar, a Canadian citizen of Sikh descent. This crisis has escalated in recent weeks, resulting in expulsions of diplomats, reduced diplomatic staff, and visa application suspensions. It underscores the long-standing tension between the two nations over the issue of Sikh separation, with Canada being home to a large Sikh diaspora. While there is no direct link between the India-Canada crisis and homelessness in Canada, it's essential to consider potential indirect effects. The crisis may influence immigration rates, economic stability, and job markets in areas with large Indian-Canadian populations. It could lead to both positive and negative consequences. For instance, reduced Indian immigration could decrease housing demand, potentially making housing more accessible for those at risk of homelessness. However, decreased trade and investment may lead to job losses and decreased incomes, potentially exacerbating homelessness. It's crucial to emphasize that homelessness in Canada is not solely influenced by external diplomatic crises. The root causes are deeply embedded in societal, economic, and systemic factors. To combat homelessness effectively, Canada must address issues like poverty, unemployment, affordable housing shortages, and the lack of support services. Regardless of external factors, addressing homelessness remains a moral and social imperative. Canada's status as a prosperous nation should reflect its commitment to social equity and inclusivity. Homelessness is a stain on this narrative, and addressing it is a testament to Canada's dedication to ensuring that economic prosperity is shared by all its citizens. While the future of the Canada-India crisis remains uncertain, what is certain is that homelessness is a complex and deeply entrenched issue that requires comprehensive solutions. Canada must continue its efforts to build more affordable housing, expand support services, address root causes of poverty and unemployment, and change public attitudes towards homelessness. By doing so, Canada can ensure that its prosperous narrative includes every citizen, leaving no one behind in the journey towards a more equitable society. Subscribe to stay updated on our future narratives, unraveling the socio-economic scenarios across the globe.